It's no mystery that stress plays a huge role in IBS and your health at large. If you got a big meeting coming up, or you get into an argument with a friend, family, coworker, or something like that, your IBS symptoms can go crazy. This is no accident, and Ayurveda has understood, as we've talked about in the doshas, the mind-gut connection for thousands of years. Getting your mind and gut realigned has a huge impact on your health. I usually like to say that the mind and the gut are the left and right foot on the path to wellness. It's really difficult to heal the mind with just herbs and diet and exercise alone. It's also really hard to heal the body with just positive affirmations and good thinking, prayers, etc. alone. You really need to have both of those things working together and the appropriate diet and the appropriate mental exercises for your dosha working together for the best results. And I have to say, for my healing, incorporating meditation into my life was probably the single largest impactful thing that I've ever done, ever, period, hands down. Meditation has changed so much for me. It's part of what brought me into Ayurveda, has led to so many positive effects all around in my health and in my life. There are other modalities besides just meditation for mental health, which we'll talk about all of them in this video. So as we know, mental disturbances can disrupt your digestive system. From like a Western scientific perspective or understanding, when you get stressed out or get into a hairy situation, your body can go into the fight, flight, or freeze state. What this means for your digestion is your blood will actually start to coagulate. Your digestive system, anything that's like above the eliminative organs, your colon or bladder, is going to stall. It's going to stop or freeze, slow down massively. And then anything that's in the eliminative organs, your colon and your bladder, is actually going to speed up. That's why you hear expressions like, "You scared the poop out of me," or somebody being so frightened and they pee their pants. Your body is trying to eliminate anything extra so you can fight or flight better in terms of like survival, biological, back when humans used to be at war and have lots of wild creatures to have to deal with. And then the digestion slows down because the body needs to send energy to the limbs to be able to take part in this fight or flight activity. So that's just a little bit of the biological functioning that happens there. And then your body has to work hard to recover from this once the stressors are gone away. However, in modern times, we're constantly bombarded with external stimulus that lead to stressful responses, whether it be work, driving, the news, media, things that might be popping up, and even entertainment, watching action, horror, thrillers, things like that are going to have a serious impact on your mental response. So the different dosha types are going to have a naturally different kind of tendency to move towards an emotional response. So vata types typically respond with fear, anxiety, overthinking, and like catastrophizing. Pitta types are going to have a tendency towards anger, irritability, frustration, high judgment or criticism. And then kapha types are going to tend towards lethargy, depression, dullness, and emotional heaviness. So when you combine those emotional states from either one of the doshas plus a stress response, you start to create this like vicious cycle of getting stressed or getting angry. Again, with the hyper response of the bowels and bladder and the digestive system halting, you get into this vicious cycle where your stomach is upset, so your brain is upset, your brain is upset, so your stomach is upset, and you kind of do this over and over and over again on a daily basis. So when you start to nurture your mind and do these different practices to maintain a healthy state, then your gut can start to maintain a healthy state. And then when you're doing the diet and you're maintaining a healthy gut, then your gut can help maintain a healthy mental state. So they're both working together. And as we know too, with modern science, a lot of happy brain chemicals, namely serotonin, is stored in the gut and sent up to the brain. It's not produced in the brain. So what are some tools that we can start to use to heal our mind and thus aid in the healing of our gut? First off, exercise or just moving the body is super important. Again, modern science is starting to support this, where undergoing physical stress, exercise, helps produce tons of antioxidants, Exercise triggers an anti-inflammatory response, and exercise helps produce endorphins, which are happy drugs. So the general rule with Ayurveda, there's no one-size-fits-all type of exercise for every dosha. Whatever body size, weight, shape that you are, the general rule, or at least my recommendation, is go with something that you enjoy, and that's going to be moderately strenuous. You don't want to exercise so hard that you're totally stressing out your body and you're breaking it down. I always recommend that you exercise somewhere between 70, 80% of your capacity. For example, for me, if my fastest mile run at a sprint was like 7 minutes, then I would not want to be running at that fast pace for an extended period of time over and over and over again every single day, because that would be damaging to my body. Instead, I can slow it down a little bit and run an 8.5, 9 minute mile that is still obviously moving your body, it's strenuous, da da da, da, but it's not going to be damaging to our body. Ayurveda is all about longevity. So we want to do exercises that are providing a little bit of strain on the body so that we can initiate all those good anti-inflammatory, endorphin, antioxidant chemicals. However, we don't want to exercise so hard that we're starting to deteriorate the tissues and creating undue stress on the body. That would be anti-longevity. And then in terms of frequency, again, that's really going to depend on what your activity level is. General rule of thumb, it's great to exercise 3 to 5 times a week, and then maybe 2 of those exercises being like more strenuous, where you push yourself a little bit harder. And then in terms of the type of exercise, I mean, it can be walking, it can be running, it can be martial arts, weight training, or you can join a sports club. You can play tennis or soccer, whatever it is that makes the most sense for you, that you enjoy. Going to engage in that activity is going to be of most benefit. Then we have the wonderful sister science of Ayurveda, which is yoga. Yoga is super amazing, especially for training the mind. This is a little bit often I've seen overlooked or not talked about aspect of yoga. Yoga is creating that physical stress on the body, which is great. But what happens when you're doing that with yoga is you're sitting or staying in a position that's uncomfortable. So whatever, you're doing down dog, or you're just doing a forward bend, or maybe camel, something a little bit, more strenuous. When you're in that stretched position, your mind is going to start to send all of these pain signals. While all those pain signals are being received, your mental, dialogue that's going on is like, everything is okay. I'm calm, like I am stretching. And you're breathing into that pain and you're alleviating that stress. This is super powerful training for your mind. It's kind of like Pavlov's dogs. So it's like Pavlov's dogs, when you ring the bell and then you produce the meat, then the dogs salivate, right? If you do this over and over and over again, it becomes an automatic response. So say the bell ringing is a stressor from the outside world, then your body's natural biological response is going to start to produce stress hormones. If you, in yoga, stretch and the pain or the stress and the bell is ringing, and then your new trained response to that is breathe, relax, stay calm, everything is fine, that's going to start to have an effect, a ripple effect in your whole entire life. I had this really crazy experience one time. I committed to, it was like 20 minutes of yoga every single morning without fail for some extended period of time. I don't remember. But I remember getting into a disagreement with one of my bosses at the time where I was working. And I remember watching him just like shaking with anger, having this conversation with me. And it was like I was not even there. It was almost like I was standing beside myself watching the conversation happen. And I was like, why is he so angry? Why am I not freaking out right now? This situation is like, it was really weird. It was totally surreal. And it was that daily over and over and over and over again, not allowing my body and my mind to fall into the automatic stress response, where I was in a stressful situation, but like completely calm, lucid, clear thinking. It was really amazing. And that can be available to you either through yoga or through exercise, but bringing that mental activity into stress response and staying calm, focus on your breathing and reducing the mental dialogue of whatever it might be, fear, anxiety, catastrophizing, anger, depression, etc. The next one really powerful tool of Ayurveda and yoga is pranayama, or breathing exercises. There's many different types of pranayama that you can do, but the two that I recommend is one simple, just called yogic breath. And that's complete exhalation. Try and squeeze all the air out of your lungs. And then slow inhalation, fill up your belly, fill up your chest, and then fill up all the way until you feel tension in your collarbones. Hold the breath there, and then slowly release. Release the pressure from the collarbones, squeeze the air out of the lungs, squeeze the air from the abdomen, pushing up on the diaphragm to get all the air completely out. And you can repeat this multiple times in different cycles. The science behind this is hyperoxygenation of the body. Typically, we're only inhaling a couple of liters of air into the lungs, where they have a much larger capacity. So we're extending that capacity. We're getting lots of oxygen into our body, which is going to reduce oxidative stress, which is going to reduce the physical stress on the body, which is thus going to have a reduced physical stress on the mind. Also, when we slow down our breathing, we slow down our heart rate, we slow down our nervous system. We start to switch into a parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, relax, digest function of our nervous system, rather than the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, freeze, activity, more hyper side of our nervous system. The other practice that you can do is alternate nostril breathing. And what this is going to do is similar to the yogic breathing, but now we're having a more direct influence on the left and right hemispheres of our brain. Again, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And we're just balancing all those things out to get our body to operate in a normal rhythm. And then my favorite is meditation. So there's lots of different types of meditation. The two kind of like primary schools or categories is like mindfulness meditation and then transcendental meditation. And then within mindfulness meditation, there's lots of different practices that you can do, is like a walking meditation, a relaxation meditation. Typically, a mindfulness meditation is a little bit more active, whereas a transcendental meditation, this is more like what we talk about. It's like clearing your thoughts or emptying your mind. And when that's done in the correct technique, then we go beyond the mind. That's why it's called transcendental, because you transcend the mind, you transcend thoughts. It doesn't mean it's thoughtless. You just shut down the chatter of the brain and go into, Zen or Samadhi, Nirvana type state. So my personal practice is I do transcendental meditation, and then of different types of transcendental meditation practices, I do mantra meditation. Mantra would be like Om or any type of prayer that feels comfortable for you. Also affirmation. The kind of mechanics that's working behind this is we go from hundreds of thoughts per minute down to a single thought per minute, is that single word or that single phrase, mantra. And then eventually, when repeating that single mantra over and over and over and over again, that mantra will disappear. And when that mantra disappears, that's where the mind is going beyond thought patterns into pure awareness, pure consciousness, again, nirvana, Zen, samadhi, that type of thing. This is extremely healing for the mind and for the nervous system. My recommendation with this type of meditation is to do at least 20 minutes twice a day. I know there's a lot of recommendations out there to do 5 minutes of meditation. Drinking water is good for you, but if you only have 1 glass of water a day, it's not really good for you. So same thing with the meditation. Doing 5 minutes would be good for you, but really you need to do at least, I would say, minimum the 20 minutes twice a day. That's going to have a larger impact on your nervous system and on your mind, how you think. And again, it's this training and this calming that's going to happen over and over and over again. That's going to have a compounding effect on your body and on your digestive system. What's really key with both of these practices, the yoga, pranayama, meditation, is routine. So just get into a regular habit of doing these things every single day. My morning practice, when I do it fast, I can do in like 25 to 30 minutes. It would be like 3 sun salutations, slow, typically, a little bit of pranayama, which is also included in the sun salutation practice, and then 20 minutes of meditation. Typically, I like to go longer, but that would be like at the beginning of a busy day and I need to get out and do things and run my life, then that 25 to 30 minutes is great. And then I'll try and do another meditation, usually after work, midday. And if I miss those, then I'll do it before I go to bed. So for you, just try and get into some sort of consistent thing. Routine is best. You don't have to shoot for perfection and get this 100% all the time, every single day. A general rule of life, with the diet and all those things and the herbs that we're talking about, and even with this is like 80-20. If you can 80% of the time mostly do everything correct, and then 20% of the time you miss or you decide to do something different, you'll be okay. So I hope the information in this video has been helpful and displays that healing your IBS is not just about your digestion. It's not just about your diet. It's not just about the times that you eat. It really is about this whole picture of your mind-body experience that's going to lead you to health. Let me know below which practices you're already doing or you're going to start trying first. And I will see you in the next video. We're going to talk about herbs, which is one of my absolute favorite subjects besides this one. Talking about yoga and meditation, I love. But yeah, herbs is extremely powerful. Herbs are really going to add that next level to what you're doing with your diet. Thanks so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe. Would highly appreciate that. Millions of other people would really appreciate that to get this video in front of them. And thank you so much. See you in the next one.